the wrong word. We are recording the meeting, not registering. Okay. Then we can start now. Hello, everybody. Maybe again, I'm Antonia. I will do the moderation today from Berlin, where I'm sitting now, together with Dominic, who I don't know where exactly you're sitting, Dominic, today.
Yeah, I met Gil in Kenya in the office.
Okay.
Thank you, Antonia.
Pretty far away. Also, yeah, this meeting today is part of our Kenyan-German live dialogues we are already having for a few years now. And today we will talk about community and sustainable or community-supported agriculture, but also about sustainable agriculture generally for people who are not practicing community-supported agriculture yet. And I think we didn't join only from Germany and Kenya. So maybe to have a first interactive part, you could put your location where you are sitting now in the chat if you want to, so that we get an idea from where we are joining today. Yeah, while you are doing this, I will start to introduce generally what we are doing today. We have a few guests who we will present later, who will give us an input and an insight in their practice in agriculture and in community-supported agriculture. And later on, we will also leave space for discussions and exchange. And in the end, we will also try to use our time together to connect, even to stay maybe in touch after this meeting. So for this, again, I will invite you, as I already did in the emails, to be interactive and to engage in the discussion if you want to, maybe to even present what you are doing. And now I see in the chat that we are joining from Switzerland, from Kenya, from Germany. That's really great. Great to have you here. Okay. Before I hand over to Dominic, I will present the first two people, or maybe even three, who will give us an insight in their practice from Germany. One of them will be Matthias von Mierbach. He founded the first community-supported agriculture here in Germany. So he's a real expert practicing agriculture and community-supported agriculture on the Kappendorfer Hof, which is in the north of Germany. I think later on he will present himself even more in detail. Also, we are really happy to have the Bauerei Grube with us. I think Matthias, another Matthias, and Lena join us today, and even they will give us a short input later. Dominic, would you like to present the Kenyan part?
Okay, thank you so much, Antonio, and hello to everyone. I'm Dominic Kimani, working for Seed Savers, located in Kenya, especially I'm in Gilgil, our headquarters. And today we have diverse guests and participants, starting with farmers who are seed ambassadors in the hall. I will be able to get a chance to interact with them later. They have been very critical in terms of training farmers on various aspects of seeds. Also, I've seen in Kenya, we'll be having some presentations from two critical guests. Juliet from Greenspoon, which is an online organic food shop. And also we'll be having John Rugendo from Siha Organics, which is also an online retail organic shop. So keep tuned and we hope later to learn more because they are helping a lot in terms of ensuring that various consumers in the country are accessing chemical-free food because in Kenya we have a major problem when it comes to chemicals. We don't have any regulation. Thank you so much, Antonio.
Yeah, thanks a lot to you, Dominic. Yeah, we are looking forward to hear more. I think I will hand over directly to Daniel Wanjama, also from the Seed Savers Network, who will give us a little background information about why we are gathering today and why we kind of figured out an interest in community-supported agriculture also in Kenya, especially from farmers who were interested in having this meeting. And maybe one last advice to everybody. If you have any questions, you can always raise your hand in front of the camera, or you can also put your question in the chat and we will try to include all these questions and answer everything. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Antonia. Thank you very much for welcoming me to this talk and to this exchange. Yes, I would also want to flashback and see where we started. Like last year, Benny, who is here, would also remember, we organized several exchanges, and this conversation between people in Germany and people in Kenya, practitioners and activists and all people who are involved in this agroecology food sector. We have had several exchanges. And one of them, like last year, was on the market. We were exchanging on access to market. And during the exchange, we had some presentation from people who are practicing community-supported agriculture in Germany, and we also had some farmers in Kenya talk and also participate in this exchange. And after the exchange, farmers in Kenya expressed the need and the desire to initiate the community-supported agriculture because they saw it as a model that could help in addressing some of the challenges regarding market access in Kenya. And therefore, after consultations together, we found it necessary to have an exchange specifically focusing on community-supported agriculture so that we could see whether there could be exchange of knowledge, exchange of way of doing things, eventually helping the farmers here being able to access market. And I think the time for this kind of a model in Kenya has arrived. Because, for instance, I think last month, there was a report that was done, I think, by Root Food, and they were testing the food quality in terms of pesticide levels and other safety issues. And for instance, one of the local vegetables that is very much consumed, one of the vegetables that people eat a lot here, they said 90% had levels of chemicals that they are not suitable to be consumed by human beings. And this has triggered a lot of concerns by the consumers. No consumers now want to pick and eat vegetables without knowing who is producing them and how they are being produced, how they are being grown. And this community-supported agriculture model is likely to be part of the solution that people could look into. Because as people go to the market that they don't know, and they don't know who is producing the food, they are always having the issue of whether it is safe or not. And any model that connect farmers with consumers, it would be very much welcome in addressing part of this problem. But I think before I say anything more, I would ask Julia to play the short video, maybe as part of introducing also challenges that small-scale farmers are facing in accessing to market, because small-scale farming nature is that there isn't enough forum for getting to the market. Go ahead, Julia.
My name is Christine Wanjiro, a small-scale farmer from Kegogo village of Gilgil, where I live with my family. I grow asparagus among other crops in a half-acre of land. The main challenge with asparagus crop is that I produce in a small quantity and it needs to be harvested every day. And since it is perishable and I don't have a cooling facility, thus I'm forced to sell at a cheaper price, and sometimes I give weight to my cows due to lack of market. As a small-scale farmers, we have tried to reach the local government to build a cooling facility, but our effort has not borne any fruits. Despite the challenge of getting a market, I have tried to connect with a trader who buys from me and take the product to the market. I hire a motorcycle to take asparagus to Gilgil town, where I send through a passenger vehicle to Nairobi, capital city, which is 120 kilometers from where I live. And then the trader there sell the product in an open air market, where it is sold 3 times the price they bought from me. Amongst the costs I incur are hiring a motorcycle and also paying the passenger vehicle to deliver the product to the market. In future, I would wish that farmers like me could sell directly to the market so that we can fetch high prices and profits.
Thank you. Yeah, that shows the kind of challenges we are facing. And I would want to hand over back to you, Antonia.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I would directly ask everybody if there are any questions or any comments on that.
Perhaps, Antonia.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Benny would want also to say something about the background of the way we have started this. Benny, if you're here.
Hello. Thank you. Basically, you said everything that needs to be said already, Daniel. Thanks a lot. But I'm happy to attend today, and I'm really keen to learn about what community-supported agriculture in Kenya might mean, because here in Germany, this is something kind of special these days, that consumers directly know the producers who produce the food they eat, right? While I feel that in a local community, in smaller villages in Kenya, this is much more the ordinary way you source your food, that you actually still know who has produced this food. And so I'm looking forward to the dialogue and would love to learn more about it. And I think that one of the really interesting aspects of well, community-supported agriculture is the English name. In Germany, we call it solidarity farming, actually. It's a special word for this. And I wonder whether the investment of consumers in farming exercises, which is partly one aspect of the solidarity farming in Germany, might also be of interest in the Kenyan context. So I'm very much looking forward to this discussion, and thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. I will hand over to Matthias, who will give us more information about what community-supported agriculture can mean and what solidarity farming, as now Benny said, in Germany does mean specifically. But Matthias has also already gained some international experiences. So I think, he will be the perfect person now to talk to us and to give us more insights. It's great to have you here, Matthias.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I want first start with an experience I made nearly 4 years ago, when I'm on the international gathering in Thessaloniki in Greek, and we meet people from all over the world, from all continents, who practice CSA. So from Africa, from Australia, from South and North America, from China, from Europe, New Zealand, everywhere. And this showed up that there are possibilities in special varieties in every country or every place in the world. And the most important thing is first to build a network of trust around farming and consumers, between farmers and consumers. This is for me the most important thing, that we learn to build up a network of trust. And out of this, we can create a safe food sovereignty, so that everyone knows how his food is produced. And on the other hand, that the farmers get a fair income. And this is, it has to do a lot, trust has to do a lot with transparency. So when I share my costs that are in need to produce food with my consumers, they want to know how I spend this money and what are the rules I grow vegetables, milk my cows, and so on. And I have to be able to show up what I do and make it also from my side as a farmer, make my heart open to make a fair deal. And I think this is a very important thing. If you want to be in such a build up such a community between me as a farmer and consumers, you have to show up for yourself also trust. And I made this experience since nearly 24 years already. Now we are a bigger scale farm in Germany, but in our network there are all varieties of farming. So from half an hectare to 450 hectares. And every single variety works on his way. So consumers and farmers and growers work together and share the harvest, but also share the risks. So if in our experience, when there is a not so good year for potatoes, like last year it was, we only can share the potatoes we have, but the costs for the potatoes are the same like in good years. And this is can be a difficult situation, because the people ask, oh, we take the cost of the growing, why we can't get more potatoes? Yeah, and I can say, yeah, the harvest wasn't so good. I don't put any harvest by the side. It's only the theme of weather disasters, and there was too much weed in the potatoes and so on. And because they know that I would not put away half of a harvest and not share with them, they say, okay, we take this. Yeah? And therefore it is so important to have a relationship between farmers and consumers. For in our example, we have nearly 1,000 shareholders with our community, in our community, and we make every year a new budget, what we will need to cover the costs, and then we share this through all the members, so they know what will be their part of the costs. And we can discuss this, and then they say, oh, it's too much. We say, okay, we can do less, but then we will perhaps deliver less tomatoes or something like this. And mostly our members say, no, please take what you need and deliver what you can. So, but it is a building over more than 20 years. It is in smaller scale CSA much easier to connect with the connection between farmers and consumers, because there are not so many people. And this is the experience we make in many CSAs in Germany. We found the network in 2011. Then were in whole Germany 14 farms and gardens who work with this principle of supported agriculture by consumers. After founding the network, now I think we are nearly 400 farms in Germany after a bit more than 10 years. And it works on every farm, on every garden. It works a bit different, but it is a right, colorful community that comes to, in any case together. And for example, I was asked by the access to market. Yes, we have full access to our market. We have no trader in between. All what we grow goes to our members and to our customers. And for example, a friend who runs a farm, he grows his main crop are carrots. He grows carrots and he gets 19€ per kilo for his carrots, and in the shops they are sold for about €1.90. So, but he only get the 19 cents per kilo for the good sorted ones. So when he deliver his carrots to this company who sorted, they sorted out about between 20 and 30%. So, and so in total, for my feeling, he get really nothing for his carrots. But he only can survive because he's specialized on this one crop and make a lot of them. So, and I think my way, or the way of sharing food directly with customers, it is a much more safer way, because also when the weather condition changed, we can declare why perhaps from this crop is a bit less than in normal years, or there are also the possibilities that a crop grows very well this year, so we can share more. And this depends on the harvest. And we try to do our very best to deliver good products with a very good quality. And so there is of course, when you mentioned the scandal with food poisoning, there is a theme how to make sure that the farmer or the grower don't do this. And there is, on the one hand, the trust, and on the other hand, something like a registration you should deal with to make clear that you hold on rules. And the rules also in such a smaller community, you can discuss with your customers. So if they say no, artificial manure is used, only compost and manure from animals. So that is something you can discuss, and you can agree in this. And also say we forbid for ourselves, for our community, pesticides. So, and that's and then for the farmer side, it is very important to hold on this rule, because this is something to create trust. And this is the trust theme is one of the most important things in the CSA. Yeah? That you learn to trust, on one hand, as a farmer, that the consumers will give you a good price for your products and a fair condition, so you have a fair income. And on the other hand, for the consumers, that they know they could get good products. I think this is something very, very important, that you can trust each other. And you go through also then through difficult times, and you can be grateful together for a good harvest, because both sides has a value from it. Yeah? If you can share like your asparagus in a way for a good price, fine. Yeah, everyone can be happy. So, Antonia, perhaps until here, I think I take my time.
Thanks a lot, Matthias, for sharing. Very, very interesting that, you mentioned so often now this topic of trust, since this is probably also part of why we call it solidarity farming, that people somehow decide also somehow ideologically to share this responsibility and to trust each other, and that everybody has to put in something. I also found interesting to see the range of very, very small scale farming up to like bigger scale farming, that maybe able to do part or to be part of community supported agriculture. Maybe one question that we also discussed before this meeting was, are there any products that work better in that? Do the products have to be worked somehow, or do you think from your experience that it can work with every product, vegetables and so on?
Yeah, from our experience, vegetables are the most important themes to build up such a community, because they are used nearly every day. But in our case, we also produce milk products because we have a dairy herd of cows, and we produce cheese and sour milk and such things that we also share. And the meat from our animals we share also. So we are a full supporter with a big amount of different products. But for smaller scale farmers, it's better to, for my feeling, don't make too much on look that perhaps you can join with more than one farm to support a group of customers with food. And it is much more difficult to produce milk products under hygiene conditions than to make good vegetables. So, and the most farms or gardens in Germany are vegetable growers who join in with solidarity agriculture. And but there are a few, they start with also with animals, with grain and so on.
Thank you very much. I think this is a good also practical advice, and it fits to my experience since me myself, I am part of a very small CSA, but as a consumer, and I get a box of vegetables every week. And I could also sometimes buy, for example, honey or some fruits or some eggs, but like the main supply is consists in vegetables. So thank you so much, Matthias. I don't see any questions by now, but we will have space for that even later. So yeah, feel always free to put your questions in the chat. Dominic, would you like to add on that and introduce our next speaker?
Yeah, thank you so much, Antonio. And it was a learning point for me on the community supported agriculture from Matthias as well. And I think this is something that you like to have in Kenya. As you proceed, I would like at this juncture to invite Juliet from Greenspool to give her experience in terms of the organic markets and the work that she does here in Kenya, and also get her experiences interacting with Kenyan consumers. Because as I had said, and also my colleague Daniel said, in Kenya, the issue of safe food remains a major problem. So at this juncture, Juliet, welcome and share your experience at this particular time, around 5 minutes or so. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Dominic. Thank you. I hope everybody can hear me, but if you can't, please let me know. Thanks for the introduction. So when we started Greenspoon, the whole idea was to connect consumers with the source of their food. And we felt very strongly that the best way to do this was to be selling online, because there's almost unlimited real estate to tell stories and to give people the kind of transparency that I believe is necessary around food. Interestingly, we didn't start with fruit and veg because it is obviously like a very challenging area, mostly in this country because of the informal sector, the informal nature of the sector. And I think we've learned a lot since we started selling fresh fruits and vegetables from, since November last year. what I think our big takeaways are in terms of what consumers are looking for is people in this region in particular want safe fruit and vegetables, and there's a lack of regulation around all kinds of farming practices here, unless you're a large corporation that can afford GAP certification, Global GAP, or other types of certifications, and unless you're also being checked up on by other buyers, right? So when we saw that there was that challenge, and we do want to support smallholder farmers, we then come up with, there's a problem there with, do we go with the smallholder farmer support model? And that requires us really to develop a whole department and employ people specifically to do quality checks, quality control, and also to liaise with very many different farmers, because the quantity, the volumes that we're shifting and what we're looking for would mean that we would always have to be working with more than a few farmers. And that also ties back in with seasonality issues and with consumer demand. So in the end, what we've been through various iterations since November, because we're a very agile business. And so we've worked with a large consolidator. We've realized that the consolidator can bring us some value, but there's also a real problem with lack of transparency. So that doesn't stick with our philosophical underpinning. And then we've moved actually back to our roots now to work with individual farmers. But what we've realized with that is that we have to have a dedicated department, which is what I had mentioned before. And the challenges around that really revolve around supporting smallholders with logistics of getting their produce to market, because I think that is one of the biggest challenges in this region. It's something that we're going to look into how to do most effectively without using third-party brokers necessarily. I mean, we don't have ambitions to necessarily like break the way that things are being done. I think there are systems in place that mean farmers can get their products to market that work, but I don't think they favor the farmers in the sense that they don't get a fair price for their products, and we would like to change that. So where we're going with our fresh fruit and veg now is to look at ways in which we can support farmers to bring their produce to our warehouse, which is located just outside Nairobi, and then we will distribute that on to our customers. To go back to what you asked, Dominic, about what customers are really looking for in this region, it's the safety of the food, and the safety can only really be guaranteed to an extent. It's not watertight ever really, but guaranteed when you know where your foods come from. So Greenspoon, we position ourselves more as a platform that connects the customer with the farmer or with the source of their food. So if you go onto our website, what the customer can do then is search by a producer. So they can actually search by the farm, and then they can search by the certification level. So some of our products are certified organic, others are organic, and others are export quality, which we know meets at least European standards, right? Which are higher than Kenyan standards. And so I think what we're doing in a way is replicating, but at scale, the kind of connection you might find at a farmer's market. That's what I've always wanted to try to do with, to give the farmers that kind of exposure as well, so that people know, they feel like people know where the foods come from and they have a voice with the customers. I'm just looking at the chat. So are the customers mostly in Nairobi? So my customers, yes, are 90% in Nairobi, and some of them are outside Nairobi. And I think what's also interesting is that sometimes we see orders for fruit and vegetables from areas in the country where I know that there is an abundance of fruit and vegetables. So it's my hypothesis would be that Greenspoon is a trusted source, and people who are ordering outside of the city for products that they could probably get on their doorstep are doing so from us because they know that it's been vetted and it's trusted. So I think I think the CSA model is a super interesting one, but I think that when we go to look at some of the farms and we're thinking about trying to scale this business to feed many people in a huge urban area, the challenge becomes, there's a tension, isn't there, between the size of the farm and what they can produce versus the size of the demand. And that's where we sit, and we're trying to solve this problem. And I think going forward, we've realized it's always going to be a hybrid solution for us. It's never a single story. Single stories are reductive and often not useful. So for us as a business, we want to look at this through various different lenses and try to make sure that we're solving problems on both sides. We're not here just to solve problems for our customers, but we're also looking at what do producers need, what the farmers need, and what does the planet need as well. We had a very interesting discussion this morning about sending boda-bodas or motorbikes all over the country to go and pick things up. Is that really good for the planet? Is it really sustainable? Not really. So we're always taking into consideration all of these different elements. And for us, it's about quality. So that's sort of consumer-based focus. And then it's about the environment, and it's also about social impact as well. So we try to look at all of those different elements before we choose the products that are going to feature on our site. And therefore be of service both to the customer as well as the people who are bringing the products to us, the producers. What is a fair price? It's a very difficult question, right? So we have had some experience recently where we spoke to an avocado farmer, and she was being paid 3 shillings per avocado at the gate by a broker. The average selling price of an avocado in Nairobi is at least 10 times that. So I would say 30 to 50 shillings per avocado, depending on size and quality. And we don't feel that that's very fair. So, we have to take into account the cost of collecting those avocados from Nyeri, but we feel that we could do better than 3 shillings per avocado. That's our hypothesis. Our fresh produce farmers, are they all organic certified? No, they're not. What we want to see is that the products are safe. So, and organic is safe, and organic is the highest possible standard if you look around globally, from my understanding, although I'm happy to be corrected. I'm not a farmer. And I think a lot of people ask about organic, but do they really understand organic, and has organic even been regulated in this part of the world? My research showed that there was a lack of regulation, and that it is very easy to put the organic sticker on what you do in this country without necessarily being checked. So we like to do that vetting ourselves, but we prefer to not box ourselves in to say we will only ever do organic. We would rather look at the whole process and understand the requirements, the needs of the farmers. We also have to take into account climate change. What could have been possible for an organic farmer 5 or 10 years ago in a certain region may now today not be possible because of climate change. And there may be a requirement for some level of inputs. And maybe those inputs, if the minimum residue levels and the withdrawal periods are adhered to, perhaps that's okay. But we're learning as we go. I would say this is a very steep learning curve for us as a business. And I think that there's a lot to be discussed around this issue of safe fruits and vegetables and helping farmers bring them to market. Yeah, so I hope that answers some questions. And do you have any questions for me?
So also you can check, there is another question in terms of the type of avocado you produce and market, as of Fwete, from Dennis.
Okay, thank you. So we don't actually produce anything ourselves, but and another issue, this is a very interesting question because we have Hass and Fwete, and we're open to any kind of avocado, right? And another thing that we came up with when we discussed with some of the people who were helping us bring fruit and veg onto our platform, what size of tomato would you like? We said, we don't mind about size. And they said, well, but every other shop tells us we have to deliver a certain size. And I said, well, what happens if you don't deliver that size? Obviously it goes to waste, right? So there's another organization that we work with that looks at how to turn those odd-sized fruit, wonky fruit, whatever you want to call it, into a value-added product. But it's something we just simply will not do, right? It's absolutely against our principles to define the type or the size or the color of a vegetable or fruit that has to be delivered to us. What we're finding though, right, so it's okay for us to say that as a business, but what we then find is that there's a pressure from the customer who rejects fruit and vegetables because they don't look a certain way. And what this really speaks about is this human condition. We have all been conditioned to expect things to look a certain way, and we have to uncondition. We need to work on removing those conditions so that people accept that fruit and veg does not always look a certain way, just like the human body doesn't always look, as like a Barbie doll or like a fashion model. And I think that there's a huge journey to go along to do that. And we definitely shoulder some of that responsibility, and we're very keen to do it and to re-educate, unlearn, relearn what is a beautiful piece of fruit. It's not necessarily about the skin, and it could maybe have one small bump in it and it still tastes delicious. And there's still been a lot of natural resources that have gone into creating that product, and we should be able to appreciate it the way it is. So I think that has been super interesting for us in terms of this journey, and we will continue to try to market and sell products that are wonky, don't fit what all the humans think are the norms. But at the same time, we do see a lot of rejection because of that. It's not the easiest path to take, but we are quite determined to take that path. Amal, I was of the impression there is organic certification in Kenya with active regulation and regular monitoring. So Amal, my understanding, and I think Daniel can definitely weigh in on this question. My understanding is that yes, once you've been certified as organic, there is active regulation and you are checked up upon, and once you've got that certification, but the certification is not an easy process. So many people don't go through it. And what my understanding is that at some of the farmers markets, it's easy for people to say, I'm an organic farmer, and to sell their products as organic without necessarily have been put through the certification process. There may be some consumers who will approach the farmer or the vendor and say, I'd like to see your certification, but there may be many who don't. And if they don't, then that vendor is kind of getting away with selling something that perhaps isn't what it says it is. Daniel, would you like to contribute further? Because I think you know more than I do on that.
Yeah, I would say certification is quite a challenge here. First, because of the cost, and secondly, because of the mechanism to enforce compliance. Because other than getting a certificate, nothing else is done. And also, certification as organic standards and all that, they are not like registered. Yeah, they are not like part of regulations that are enforced by the government. They are only enforcement that are done by the market. I mean, a requirement by the market, but not, they cannot be enforced in law. Therefore, yeah, it's possible for people to just claim they are organic, even when they are not. Yeah, but largely it's a problem related to lack of food safety regulations in the country. And it's a huge problem that need to be fixed. And as Ben, I know Benny implied that every consumer knows the farmer. It's not the case. It's just like a jungle place where the food that is in the market, even local farmers market, the consumers who go to that market will not know at all where it's coming from. And even in the villages, the traders, even the farmers bring their produce to the market. And people from the same village might also come to the market to buy the produce which was brought by their neighbor, but they are not aware at all. Thank you.
And I think the other thing to follow up on that from Daniel is, as a business, we feel that responsibility to deliver safe food to our customers. So we looked into testing, and to run one test on one piece of fruit or vegetable is, I'm going to say it in dollars for the benefit of everybody who's not in Kenya, but around $200. So if we're selling, over 50 different types of fruit and vegetable, and we want to test them, that's a prohibitive cost. You can't justify that. And so then the pressure goes back to the farms to undertake those tests. And I think that a lot of smallholder farmers can't undertake those tests. So there's a very interesting issue that sits around the food safety element, particularly in this region. And I think, my reading of the market from a retailer point of view is that the big corporates are able to afford this kind of testing. They may be exporting, and they can pull fruit and vegetable off the export line and sell it locally. But the smallholder farmers get priced out, and then their options are really only to either sell to a broker or to sell locally in the market. Apologies for the background noise. I'm in the warehouse at the moment.
Juliet, thank you so much. Also, thanks to Daniel for your answer to the question. I somehow, recognize a lot of problems and challenges we also very similarly find in Germany too. Since just a few weeks or month ago, there has been a scandal also on organic certification here, that the people who control it are not independent. So I somehow, since I am living in a city, I'm living in Berlin, I very often also hear the mistrust around me of people who are going to organic supermarkets. And they say, well, if I go to an organic supermarket or to another supermarket, in the end, it doesn't change, because maybe it says it's organic, but in the end, it is not, which somehow is more the impression of the people who may not be well informed. But I always again find this issue of trust that also Matthias mentioned before. So with that, I would hand over to another guest. But thanks again for this very detailed insight, Juliet. We have another Matthias here with us today, who is from the Brauerei Grube in Potsdam, which is a city close to Berlin, the capital of Germany. And he is practicing CSA and community-supported agriculture. Welcome, Matthias. May you give us an insight in your practice, and maybe you can even add on the issue of trust, this issue of organic certification, and how you are dealing with that, because also we, before this meeting, discussed this issue already, and we were wondering how it is possible to find consumers and to build trust between consumers and farmers.
It's one simple question at the front. Who do you trust? Do you trust your neighbor, or do you trust the bank or some system what's anonymous? The things you can trust. And I think it's very, very nice from Matthias van Mierbach that he told much about it, because it's the whole it's the basic of it, of the whole thing. Without trust, you can't do it. It's not me alone, it's my wife Lene also here, and it's very important for our little story. It is so I'm a farmer for all my life. I learned it. I did also long time ago organic farming. And one thing I want to say is we're living here in Europe in a system what is on a scale, a lot of industriality and a lot of specializing, what Matthias told about the carrots. Yeah, it's on all the ways. Everyone is specialized, and we have a lot of food too much here in Europe. And how you get to a system where you say, I want especially a connection with that farm in a scale where I know it, because we live in here in a system no one knows from each other. It's very anonymous. And when I was doing my farm, and also in a big scale, I was thinking about what's really necessary. And it's not that we produce more and more and more here. So, in what way we produce, and what way we have to develop for the agriculture. And for me, it was one big step to share experiences. Our people also live in cities. I think it's also in Kenya like that the city is growing bigger, and the people don't know anymore what's going on the land and on the field. So how you get a connection? You just can trust what you know, where you come daily or weekly in a system, what you know, what you can visit, and that you learn to have a relationship to that. So when we were here in this neighborhood near Berlin in Potsdam, we did a lot of work with students. That was our main. Yes, we have also a lot of photos. Jana has them. We can also show them a bit. Yeah, when I'm telling, we can just let's stand that. But I'll start. The beginning for us was with working with students on the field, and the basic where we could start with our farm was that we had a system here from a lot of young students and their parents. It was a system we know, and it was already a kind of community. And we started in 2018 without money, without anything, without machines, just have experience in agriculture. And we had the opportunity to buy land, 3 hectares in a community. We couldn't pay it for ourselves also. So we did it, we buy it in a community from about 100 people. We could buy this land. So we could start, and we start very small without anything. We did do it in little steps. Just the land, you see the land, but it was in the beginning. And yeah, we did start in 2018 with 30 people in our CSA. It was not big, it was just 6,000, not even a hectare. We started, we could not produce on our own land. So we started to, on another place in a very little scale for Germany here. It was really very little. And then we started in the first year, and then we did now grow over 5 years to in a community about 150 people this year, what we want to have. And we don't want to grow bigger. We don't say for us that we want to have a community from 1,000 or 500 sharing parts, just stay at this level. Because when you are not so much, you know each other also. And that's for us a very important issue, that we know what kind of people we're working with. And that is a photo of our, we have every month we work together on the land. When we have to plant a lot, now we did plant trees. We share that with our customers. This is not only the product, but also the experience room we share. Yeah, and that is very important to have this connection not only over the product, but also over being together. Yeah. Genau. Also that's our thing. That is example of what we deliver every week in our
It's for 1 week delivery.
yeah, it's for 1 week, the vegetables. And we
The next one, Jana?
yeah,
one
you
in
can
summer
click
and one in
it
winter.
durch. Yeah, that's one in winter time. Yeah. And then we just harvest it, bring it. We did this, some things, wild herbs.
This is what we don't do ourselves, but we invite the customers to the farm to come and put these
work with us
together and do these things. We don't have time to do these kind of sauces ourselves, but the customers do have, and they enjoy it, being outside and spend a day of the city and working for the whole community.
Yeah. And genau. And then we just produce it on the farm, and they come and get it into the city. So our work is just, we can stay on the farm, and that's a very important point for us, that we really concentrate on our farming work and not manage this marketing system to how to or sell it on the market. The people, they are self-organized in little groups, groups about 10 till 15 parts, and families, and they come and they get it together. They make appointments from it, who drives and who can share his car. They pay another for it, that they can get it from the farm. So they have two things. We have not so much work for the marketing, and they get an experience also from the farm. That is also at that day of every day at the Thursday, we are opened our farm, and they can visit us, and they have a kind of experience.
Like we have retired people, old people who can drive, who have an old car, but they have less, just little to do in their daily lives. So they enjoy to have a responsibility. They do the logistic, the transport from the farm to the city.
Yeah,
they are involved. Yeah, they have lunch with us before they leave. They are involved in social life, and they have something important to do, and it doesn't cost financially a lot. Yeah, it's good for all sides.
And our system is also that we specialized on vegetables. We have about I think this year about 100 different cultures, different kinds of vegetables and salads. And we have a little bit more land. We could rent more land now to it. And we want then a little bit more to crops for baking bread. And for the next years, we want to make chickens and eggs that we also put in our system. But it was very little steps we did develop it. Yeah. And now we are in the system in that we can be like I said, I have a very little farm now, not just have a piece of land where we grow vegetables, but we have a little farm that can grow more diversity. And that's only possible because the people are very near connected to us, and they have a relationship to us. That also in the system, we get credits from our customers to invest little steps and machines and a tractor and all the things we need. So that is a very near relationship to it. And this is an example at the last. Maybe you can show the last picture. Yeah, thank you. This is how we at our farm.
Just our time runs out.
Yeah.
This is one example for 25 families. They pick their vegetables once a week, and it's as simple as that. It only needs boxes. It needs a table and a Waage. I don't know it in English, so where you can measure it. And a sheet of paper where we write down what we have in this week, what we can share with all the others. So that's as simple as that. And I want to say that 150 people is, in our opinion, is an amount of people who take responsibility for one another. If somebody's sick, if they take care for another, they know each other. It's I don't know whether it's a model for Kenya to have these little kind of communities, but for us it is, and we can afford 2.5 employees and the rest we do with, as you can see, with very young people. We combine education and agriculture. Like these ones, the kids, they come during their school time outside, and the parents are so happy about the kids being useful and learning in practice, that they are longing for belonging to the Zulavi, to the CSA community. So this is, yeah. And at the same time, the to meet animals is very important in Potsdam and Berlin, because it's not possible in the big cities, and this is quite a high motivation for people to join the community, the CSA community. I think we have to end.
Mm-hmm. That's our message, that we start with less things that we didn't have
Maybe this is
a big beginning with money and so, and that we about our connections and our relationships, we did it together, really did together. And as a farmer, you have to think new. You cannot think, what can I produce more efficient, more at lower cost, but how can I make diversity and quality that it's really shareable in the community? Yeah. So I don't know how to look to what's the solutions for Kenya, but I think you're on a very, very good way. It's very nice to see that so much engagement is in the area too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jana. And maybe you can be recognized. Jana was on this one picture as well. Jana, did you see yourself?
Yes, I saw the picture.
So.
Thank you. I like that part where you.
Yeah.
Dominic or Daniel, do you want to directly add on that?
I think it's more of learning, because there's also a new concept to our Kenyan farmers. And I think because of time, we can I've also checked through the chat, and seems like every person is impressed to see the work that is happening there. So maybe, Antonio, if you can allow me, you can proceed to our next guest, and then we just have a session with all the questions. And I hope Matthias will remain to help us get some more ideas. So at this juncture, let me invite Paul from CSA Organics to at least, because we are behind in terms of time, just to share more in terms of experience selling organic produce through online platforms, and also we get from him whether there are any limitation and how they are able to reach to other farmers that are not online. So Paul, take 5 minutes to a bit respond to some of the areas, and then we'll go to the question and answer session. Thank you. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you very much. My name is Paul Ogendo. I'm the technical director for CSA Organic Grocery Stores. Basically, CSA is a grocery store that sells organic groceries through an e-commerce platform. Apparently, we are the first e-commerce platform that sells groceries in Nakuru City. We also deal with the production of organic food. We have a leased farm in Nyeri County in Kenya, and also we're establishing our model farm in Subukia, Nakuru County, where we aim at having a training center where we're going to train farmers in organic farming, as well as have a commercial nursery where they can access certified organic seeds and seedlings. From there, we'll incorporate the farmers through contract basis where they produce farmers to plan their planting calendar. We also use artificial intelligence integrated drones for spraying of pesticides and fertilizers, as well as seed propagation. On top of that, we're able to do monitoring of presence of pests on the plants, as well as nutritional deficiencies and also diseases. Of use artificial intelligence, you also plan on incorporating blockchain technology, where we'll to enhance traceability of our produce from the producer, from the type of pesticide, the type of fertilizer they use, even to the logistics, where we're able to trace a certain product has been produced by a certain farmer, was transported to the store by a certain person, and also delivered to the consumer to a certain person. So basically, the challenges that we face as organic farmers right now is that the cost of organic produce is quite high as of now. So we end up that not 100% organic. Some products are conventional products. On top of that, we also have issues with logistics, where the cost of transportation of produce from farm to the store is also very high, hence affecting our revenue models. So I would like to answer some few questions that have been asked. Someone has requested I share our website. I would like to share my screen. Take you through our e-commerce platform. So basically, this is our e-commerce platform. This is our homepage where we offer delivery. Apparently today we have happy hour, as you can see, every Wednesday and Friday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. We do free delivery for orders about 500 Kenya shillings. This is around $5 US. We have certain products. We have vegetables. We also have fresh fruits, as well as snacks. So basically, this is how you shop. Let me take you to the vegetables place. I take you through the process of shopping. So you choose the products that you want to buy. You can buy via the website. You can order also via WhatsApp, or also make a phone call. So you add to cart. Add to cart. Then after that, you can proceed to checkout. Cut. Kindly bear with me, my net is a little bit slow, but not that slow. So from here, you can you enter your billing details, your location, and everything. Then you proceed to checkout. Once you fill your details, your location, we get a notification via our email platform. From there, our deliveries take 1 hour to be processed and to be delivered to our consumers' doorsteps. Either we do deliveries to homes and also offices as well. Yes. Thank you very much. I think right now take questions.
Thank you. And Paul, maybe the first question I had in terms of do you have how do you reach out to consumers or customers that are not online?
We also have a physical store. Apparently, presently, I'm in our physical store where we have walk-in customers in our vicinity. So that is how we're able to serve customers that cannot access us online. They can also, we also have phone calls. People can also call and we deliver.
Yes, maybe you can respond to that, and maybe also welcome other participants.
So basically, we buy from small-scale farmers as well as suppliers. As we're in the process of developing our plan, we are still in a pilot phase of our product. We are looking for a feasible contract basis where we can purchase produce from farmers. So as I said earlier, we train farmers. After training them, we offer them with seeds and seedlings. We also do random checks in their farms to confirm the quality and assure our consumers that whatever we offer is true organic food and it's not substandard. So that is the criteria that we use to buy from farmers. The next question is, what area do we cover with our deliveries? Basically, as of now, we cover Nakuru city. That is an average of a radius of around 15 kilometers from Nakuru CBD. Yes.
Thank you. Do we have another question? Or maybe Julia, where you are seated? I know we are going to another session for question and answer. Do we have any questions from farmers in the hall?
Yes, there's a question from a farmer who wants to give a small experience on contract farming that he had. And also I see Francis there. Let me give the farmer a chance to speak.
Yeah. I'm Joseph Blaze kutoka kaunti ya Moto, Kilimo Hai Group.
I will translate for him just to make sure everyone is able to hear. This is a farmer from a part of Nakuru in Kenya.
We were contracted as farmers by a company called Ken.
He has been a contract farmer before.
And the challenge we had as farmers who were in that group is this. When we were growing French beans for that company, and the challenge we got is when we grew the French beans, we were growing them as their directives. Chemicals we were spraying as they were giving us the directive. And also since they were supplying us and we were paying, but the challenge was when we harvest the produce and we deliver to them, we had a collection center which was in our area. The collection center had somebody who was the collection center controller. The controller was to weigh the beans from every farmer, and every farmer was to be given a label or a small piece of paper, which was to read the kilos each person or each farmer had weighed during that time. We were harvesting about 2 times in every week. So when we harvest the produce, we said to them, after they correct and they take to their factory in Nairobi, the challenge was there were 2 things which farmers were getting the problem. When they collect the kilos from the farmers, let me give an example. Maybe each farmer was bringing some kilos in different production. And if it was about 1,000 kilos from all the farmers, when the produce was collected from the area, when it was reached to the factory, there was a thing they called the variance. The variance was the kilos which were collected from the center, and the factory weight was a difference with the produce which was collected. The other thing was when they were to sort out the produce, they were getting some rejects. So the problem was when each farmer delivered the produce and the variance, maybe if we had delivered about 1,000 kilos, maybe from their return, in the whole total, they were showing maybe we had about 200 kilos variance of the kilos which were collected from the center and the kilos they received it to the factory. The other thing was, after they sort out, there was something which we are calling the rejects. Rejects maybe they were to show us about 40 kilos from the whole total of 1,000, or more than 300 or 400. So when they came, they were to pay from the whole total. We were getting problem because they were not paying whatever they corrected. That's where we got the challenge. If a farmer maybe expected to get about 10,000 or 5,000 according to the produce he had produced, maybe he was to get about 5,000, and the rest were not paid because they were counted as variance, as rejects. So it was a challenge for construction, and we were signing the agreement form with the company. And the way we were expecting to get the money from them, it was zero, because we did not get whatever we were expecting to get from them as we weigh our produce and what they receive and what they process. It was completely different. The more you sent the produce, if you sent about 200 kilos, the farmer could deliver 300. The more you deliver, the more you will get different. We were doing it by the ratio. The ratio you deliver, the ratio will be deducted. The more you deliver, the more you will be deducted. So we were
Mr. J, yes. Can you summarize?
Sorry?
So he's done. I hope we were able to understand the question. And maybe we can respond on the contract farming. I think most of our farmers here are very skeptical with contract farming. Is there a way they can still produce and get a market if not contract farming?
Yeah.
I quite understand the issue that he's talking about. Apparently, with French beans, it's also something that we encounter. It happens when, when the produce is not well refrigerated, it loses, the water content goes down. So hence it leads to a reduction in the kilograms. So how we're able to counter this, or how we'll be able to counter this, is have the packaging at the farm, where we have everything being done at the farm, since most contract farmers will be near the vicinity of the farm. So the farm will also be like a processing center where we package and process our stuffs. Then they are transported through a refrigerated vehicle to the store. Hence, we'll be able to minimize the issue of lost kilos while dealing with highly perishable products.
Thank you, Paul, for that feedback. But I think it's something that we need to keep on thinking how we can make it not punitive to farmers, as well as you heard from Jay. Yes, I can see Francis' hand is up. So because we are constrained in terms of time, I think if you can make the question or the comment in 1 minute or less than 1 minute, that would be in great favor. Francis?
Yes, thank you. My name is Francis Ngiri. I'm a farmer from a village called Makongo in a place called Kitangwanyi. We had been practicing organic farming since 2015, led by the Seed Savers Network. So from that time, we believe we have at least some experiences in organic concept. My question is, if we want to have to adapt this concept, where do we start? Do we start by looking for certification, or is looking for consumers? Because we believe here we are densely populated, and the people around here in Makongo are potential consumers. How can we start so that we can start from there? I heard Madhya say that this is a kind of trust. This concept is based on trust. So is there any need of certification so long as our consumers around here are trusting us? Thank you very much.
On the issue of certification, as of now, apparently we are doing organic farming, but we are not yet certified, but we are in the process of being certified. But in terms of our farmers, it's very hard for an individual farmer to be certified. So after undergoing the training process, the company will facilitate the certification of the farmers, hence reducing the burden of the farmers going through the process of certification. We'll be able to partner with COAN. COAN is Kenya Organic Agricultural Network. So the company will be able to negotiate with COAN and certify our own farmers. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And I'm happy we are also maintaining the 1 minute or less time. Eke, I can see your hands is up.
Yeah, sorry, I have no picture.
What happened?
We cannot hear you at the moment, Eke. Could you?
But to build a direct relationship between consumer and producer. This is, I think this was the topic today. And after listening to all those great inputs we got here, how do I express? I was a little bit astonished that you've chosen an example which basically forbids direct contact between a producer and consumer, which is asparagus to Nairobi. Yeah, I mean, this would for that poor lady, that would be a little bit difficult to organize that. But the last question, if I understood, was can we build those relationships of trust, for example, to Naivasha or to Nakuru? Yes, of course you can, because that is closer to you. The CSA concept has also something to do with being in local contact, in direct contact with your consumers. And I think this would be a good place to start, having a localized network of consumer, not too far away, maybe Naivasha, maybe Nakuru, where you can start to make your experiences bringing your produce to the market. Yeah, this is this might be a good way to get rid of intermediaries, to get rid of their high profit rates at the back of the producer. Yeah, this is this would be my advice or my input. Think locally.
Thank you, Eke, for that. Paul, in a few seconds, any thought of feedback? And then we are having less than 6 minutes. I can see Penina and also Daniel would like to say something.
In terms of relationships, I think, as I had stated earlier, blockchain technology will come in handy, where we have consumers will be able to know the individual producer who produced the product. Not only will the consumer be able to know of the producer, they'll be able to know of the kind of fertilizer that has been used, the kind of pesticides that has been used, the type of company that was also contracted for logistics. Hence, the produce will be very traceable. Hence, we'll be able to have at least a transparency across the whole process from farm to fork.
Thank you, Paul. And thank you, Eke, also for the question. We also had a comment here in the chat, which adds maybe also a little bit on the question from Francis before. And yeah, other questions that came up, like, do I need a certificate to build this model of direct trade or of community-supported agriculture? And for who is not able to read the chat at the moment, I will read it out loud. CSA does mean that you do have a group of persons that trusts you and takes what is given. The price is paid for the whole farming for a long term, not just for the delivered products of a week. So the interest of the retail company to make a profit is bypassed by the direct contact between eaters and growers. So you are only contracted to your group of members. A certification is not needed and trust is the base. that yeah, I think fits also to what we heard before, and maybe a little bit also to this name, community supported agriculture, since Matthias and Lena, for example, yeah, spoke a lot about the part of community, like not only producing and selling, but also integrating and interacting with the consumers, so that a consumer becomes not only a consumer, but somehow part of the farm and part of the activities there. This is somehow part of the idea of community-supported agriculture. But I see that also Daniel raised his hand, and then we have another farmer, I guess, or like Julia. And just to remember, we had a question in the chat a long time ago in the beginning of the meeting, so I will add it maybe after we heard the next two questions. Daniel.
Thank you. Yeah, my questions, which are several, goes to both Matthias and Lina. And one question is, what happens when you're not able to supply a product consistently? Let's say it's winter or something like that.
Yeah.
And I also saw there is a integration of the children and some social aspect of community supported agriculture. How important is that in making the whole system work? And the other question I would like to ask, maybe all of them together so that I don't have to speak again. And the other question is, how do you recruit the customers? And the other question is, how do you build the trust now that the whole system is built on trust? Are there specific items or specific things that you do to build? Finally, community and
did I hear what did you ask? No, the people expect also, yeah, the quantity of vegetables, yeah. Oh, we had bad weather and it has to be a year at least, yeah. The people 150 is with us till the beginning, yeah, at all the 5. Yeah, and last difficult year in our time we couldn't deliver for about 3 to 4 weeks enough lettuce salads, yeah, so that was very less. It was a problem. The main thing the reason, that's the most important thing, I think, that you communicate why system. We don't just our boxes every week, yeah. We a letter where we talk about the farm. What is our problems? What is the good? What they can expect? What is, so it is always yeah, are related to get to each other. That's I think the most important thing. Yeah.
And I think you asked the question how to recruit
Yeah.
Because if you and they tell part of quite well, then often it happens that, say, a starting group for example, years ago, very little advertisement for this. We make we have happy consumers, and that is the best and to tell about more than 7 times a good put it in there. Be customers with your group. So you really don't communicate enough about a good system. Do good and talk about. That's very important in this system.
One thing, another thing, we live here near the very big city of Berlin. We have Potsdam here as a big city, and we don't want farms around Berlin. They are not so near at the city as we are, so we want to give them the opportunity to deliver. Our goal, we customers are living but the most are here in our little village here. We have 400 people living in Grube, where we're in the farm, and it's our biggest department to deliver. It's 25 people live in Grube and are our customers. So we want to have as near as possible that they have the possibility also to come with their children, to have a connection, to hear from another, that they speak with each other. And we can say it's not a real problem to get new customers. We have a list for people who are waiting to take care to us, because of this thing that we is really a main thing with us. Without Lina, she's not now there. She's now talking with teachers outside. She does a very big part of the work in our system. She's always communicating with schools, with parents, with our customers, and that's a real that makes the other thing more easy.
Did that answer your questions, Daniel?
Yes, it does. It does. I think the issue of trust is wide, and without certification, I think is sustained through communication, if I get it well.
Thank you. Then I will read out loud another comment in the chat before I hand over to Julia. To my mind, says Kathleen now, the issue of sharing the risks of farming is key to CSA. Consumers need to understand the risks farmers bear in the context of a capitalist market-based economy. Risks can be shared between farmers and consumers and also between several farmers, if several can work in a cooperative manner with one another. So to this, I will add also a question from Kathleen. She asked in the beginning, then we can also hear the question from Julia, and then maybe we will try to answer them together. because Kathleen communicated us that she's struggling a little bit, if I understood it well, with connecting with other farmers, which I somehow heard also now from Matthias, and also Matthias mentioned it before, like building a network also with other farmers can help in this concept of community supported agriculture. Then we can hear Julia now, and then we can also try to answer the question of Francis later. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, farmers. My name is Penina, a farmer from Gigi here in Kenya. For a long time now, I have been practicing seed saving in cooperation with organic farming. So my strategy has been, I would like to have as many seeds or crops as possible in my farm to meet that policy of diversity. But due to some seeds not being well saved because we don't have seed for them unless we go and buy them in agro-fets, can we have somebody telling us, do you have these seeds also, or you just buy them? The second question is, in this system of community supported agriculture, we do it through trust. And in Kenya, we have tried so many businesses in that system, and some customers have sometimes been nonsense because they don't pay, they consume, then later they don't turn up in paying. Which criteria or strategies do we use or we can use to avoid such situations? Thank you.
Was your question to anybody specific, or can we just ask all our participants?
I think the question can go to anyone practicing CSA, maybe Matthias, the two Matthias, anyone can answer? Yes.
I can share my experience in that. In the whole time I practiced this system, we only say to 4 or 5 customers, you cannot be any longer be part of this system because you want to take more than you should take. And that is a very little number of customers who behave on that way. So, and I think this is very important from when you found such a system, to find a few people who really understand the system and work with them before you start. For example, half a year, meet every once a week and discuss all these terms, how you can avoid such issues. And there are, of course, also possibilities that perhaps when there's a group and there is one customer who say, for example, I can't pay enough because I have to manage children or whatever. And if it fits in the group, perhaps you can equalize that in total. But this has to be discussed beforehand, and not that the issues come out when you started. That is very important, that you discuss the themes, so that a trust building is not a one-way direction. It's from every side you have to have a will to create trust. So that is, and so I gave the advice, start with a small group, talk a lot with them, show them the issues you have on the farm, and make them your ambassadors for more customers later. So they understand you much better than perhaps the later members. But such a founding group is a very important thing to avoid such themes of mistrust and that somebody takes out too much and so on. That is my experience. And like I say, in the 24 years, I have to say only 4 times, please leave the group. Yeah? So, thank you.
I can say also something about it. Maybe it's important, we didn't talk about it yet. We in our system from the CSA agriculture, it's not that we're selling a box of vegetables. We have once time in a year, we meet each other, yeah, and then from the farm we tell what is our costs, what cost the machines, what cost the fertilizer, the seeds, the personal, our income. We make it translated. Also, we don't have any secrets. It's a complete course of 1 year. We tell our customers, and then we divide it to the families who are connected with us. And that's not an absolute price. It's the price for rotation. Yeah. When someone they say then it's anonymous. Everyone can tell what he's willing to pay, and some can pay more. So that's the start of the year. Every two arrange us together that have the complete price for the complete year together. One family has to pay this price. It can also be can pay extra when it's possible to it. In the middle, it has to estate, and that's so we don't have any price for lettuce or for a box a week. We have just the price for 1 year. We'll be going to that the people are talking with each other. Now it is so that we have 150 people, and by 150 people, they cannot discuss everything. They don't know each other well enough to discuss this in detail. So our places to deliver are, this year we have 12 places where we deliver to, or where we divide the products. And these groups are very important because they are more, it's more intimate. It's about 10 till 15, 20 people, yeah, who know each other. So they also talk with each other. We stimulate this. That in the city of Potsdam, here where 100,000 people live, we have 5 places, 5 little communities in the city, and they meet each other not every month, not every week, but they have their own chat and an own communication room. It's one person who is responsible for it, and they talk with each other. Is someone who was going ill and cannot pay anymore, or we have to bring the lettuce to it as home, what we can do for each other. So it is a kind of community. We say the model is the village in the village. So it's not big and anonymous anymore. The people can talk with each other. So these little groups, everyone has his own character, yeah. And some groups they meet every month and cook together. Another group is more engaged with school or with other things. Every group has its own quality, and that's very important, that they speak with each other and know each other. So you have to look for what is the item you share with each other. We say it's not just the lettuce we deliver. It's a lot more was going with it. Yeah. And that is also then that is the power who take care of this system. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Matthias. Maybe I can add on that from a consumer's perspective, since I would be an example of a person who lives in a big city, very far away from the field, very far away of farmers' experiences, but still I am part of the CSA. And for example, I pay a fixed price every month, so that the farmers can like really make a planning and have the security to plant and to get through the year without problems. The solidarity concept then doesn't work only between me as a consumer and the farmer, but also between the consumers. So maybe if a person is not able to pay as much as other persons could pay, it's possible to somehow also to communicate this, and maybe one person is able to pay more, another person will pay less in exchange. And then we have our email chat where we can communicate. We are always able to reach out to everybody. And once a week, I will go to a street very close to my house where I pick up my box and my vegetables. And every week, 2 other consumers like take care of the packaging of vegetables. So they weigh the vegetables there actually in the city. And so, every week 2 people are responsible, and the next week they will do the learning for the others. So this just as an example. And for example, if one week I am not able to pick up my vegetables, I can communicate this in the emails, and maybe somebody else will pick it up, and later I will go to the house of this person, or maybe I will just give it as a present to these people. Now we have 2 minutes left, so time is running off. I still wanted to read out some other comments in the chat, and then we can try to find a good way to close our meeting from today. So there was Baldo Capusta who wrote, in Germany, many CSAs are organized around clubs or societies, which is formally taking the products and sharing it to the members. But there are different ways to organize the distribution. So a contract from a farmer to every member, or cooperatives owning the whole farm and its products. I think this was somehow referring to the question of Francis, if it requires a legal backing when farmers and consumers enter into an agreement. Also, Kathleen added transparency is important in this process. And Baldur then also mentioned urgency, which is an international network of community-supported agriculture. And he shared the website. So maybe to somehow come to an end, we could think of 2-3 possibilities to stay in touch, to share contacts, to share more information, in order to somehow stay in touch and try to build on this idea even after this meeting and this event of today. Dominic, do you want to add on that?
Thank you, Antonia, and for the presentations. I think nothing much to add on that. But moving forward, I think this seems to be a very interesting discussion. I can also see in the chat box the comments that are there. So I think from my end, I don't have something else to add, but to appreciate the great presentations and learning. As I said, this is also an area that, although I've been in agriculture, is a purely new idea for me. Thank you so much. Back to you, Antonio.
I saw one last question also from Daniel in the chat. If I pay to a specific farmer or to a group, in my case, I am paying to a specific farmer, which in this case is not only one farmer, but like one agricultural place, like a few farmers practicing together, and I'm paying to them. Yeah. Julia, you raised your hand too.
Yes, mine is a comment, and on behalf of the Kenyan farmers, we had a bit of points on how Kenya mostly we have issues with trust. And so there were farmers who are wondering if they're able to really get people to invest for the future of farming, like what we are saying, like the main goal of CSA is to like invest the future of farming, the bigger picture. While here we see like also the farmers are not comfortable to just get the minimum. They want also to improve their livelihood. But for the CSA, the farmer and the consumer, they like just want a sustainable process without making profits or anyone making so much. And the other, so also this is just to draw out here to the people in the meeting on whether, as Kenyans also in the meeting, whether we feel like this is a possible solution and what ways we can also try to model it that it fits our Kenyan situation, and so that we are able also to as soon as possible to start trying to implement it. I know there are a few farmers mentioned they have tried implementing with milk, where they provide customers with milk and the customer pays at the end of the month, but you find other customers failing, they want credit, that kind of situation, and so it becomes messy and they try that. So what I'm saying is, I hope the conversation continues. I hope we are able to see how we can model this to a way that it fits our Kenyan situation and we can be able to move forward and provide solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julia. I think these are very important and valid points, since now we shared experiences from many different parts of the world, also many different situations, many different, also personal circumstances. I think today was a very, very nice first input and like a very great brainstorming, but then still we will have to see how everything then looks in reality and in different contexts. So yeah, I think first point is that we recorded everything. We will put it online on our website, and so you can also share it with other people later on, and you can also rewatch it. We, as Weltacker Berlin and Seed Savers Network Kenya, we will meet after this meeting, and we will probably discuss how we can still share contacts and keep in touch. Maybe to have a first impression, if you would be interested in a follow-up on this topic, or to somehow be able to get more information and more connection with each other, maybe show a thumbs up or something, give us a reaction now, so that we can see if this would be interesting for you even in the future. Okay, great. I see a few thumbs up. That's good to see and to hear. Then I think we can come to an end now. And we will be also available. And then we will see how we can continue this exchange. Thank you very much. I will give the word to Dominic again. Maybe you want to close, or maybe even somebody else wants to, close for today.
So I think from my end, it's just to thank everyone for sharing, all the good ideas, the questions, their participation. And I hope that you get another session, of course, even at our country level, to discuss more, as Julia said, how this can happen and what need to be done. So I think from my end, I'm grateful to have moderated this with you, Antonia, and to the participants, you not give me a hard time. Thank you so much. So I don't think maybe Daniel or Benny, if you like to have a closing remarks.
Very well done, Dominic and Antonia. Thanks a lot for hosting. And I think this is probably the beginning of a continuing exchange, and I would very much appreciate this. And thanks to all the Matthiases who contributors, and I look forward to our next exchange. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Best wishes to Kenya and the good work you're doing there.
Thank you, Matthias.